Good morning, Freedom. Notice anything different? I cleaned up a little bit. So today I wanted to talk about a little bit about food storage long term when you're living in an RV or a small space. Because most of us, let's be honest here, aren't going to have a 36-foot horse trailer to store stuff in. So this is kind of a luxury right now. I have more extra stuff than I would ever normally have if I was in a tiny space. But we're going to talk about that today just in case, because just in case, you know, you never know if things are going to go bad. It's a good idea in terms of having some backup food supply and what you actually want to focus on when you are living this type of life, or you got to hit the road refugee style. So we're going to take a deep breath, inhale, hold for full, exhale, and see you on the other side. One of the ways these videos get supported are by a few books that I've written, which have nothing to do with the videos themselves. They're based on what I've learned with 20 plus years as being a social worker. Why let it all go to waste, right? For anyone over 50 or a caretaker, this is stuff you just need to know. Not fun, but necessary. You'll find the link below. I will say thank you, and the more books I sell, the faster I'll be back on the road. So I wanted to just talk about a little bit of an overview like I just mentioned, and it's super cold out, so we are in our industrial 3 layers, of which 2 are wool, because I am cold and it's officially winter. I just wanted to go over some stuff because I just finished up not too long ago sorting through everything, getting it reboxed, throwing out as much as I could throw out. One of the biggest things that you can't see back there, but you might be seeing right now, is food. And part of that is just because, like I've mentioned, I live out in the middle of nowhere, so it's always good to have a backup food supply. But I also have that prepper mentality where it's really good to have a backup food supply, because I know I've been snowed in here for 3 weeks at a time, and I am on, you know, a super budget, so there's also that to consider. But I think the more important piece is nutritionally what you're storing for your money, for your health, and for longevity. For those of you who don't know, I spent the first year with 0 refrigerator, and that was interesting. It was actually quite doable, but it was very difficult if I was far away from a store. So right now I go into the big city, you know, once every 2 to 3 months to get supplies. So I haul in a lot of food, and then I just pick at that. And then we didn't have a grocery store for the last year. We finally have another grocery store, so I can do, you know, little supplementing along the way to kind of stretch that out. I want to talk about it at a very practical level, because the first thing you often see with a prepper crisis mentality is this: grab yourself some pasta, right, and go. And the reason why I don't recommend that, even though I have a few of them, is that carbohydrates are the things your body needs the least of. We can survive over a year with 0 carbohydrates. We will lose some weight. That is not such a bad thing for some of us, but you cannot survive without protein and fat. Quick nutritional primer: carbohydrates are energy micronutrients. Protein and fat builds new cells. It also heals your cells, and it also is some of the vitamins, enzymes, minerals, things like that. So more important than just carbohydrates. Fat melts, and one of the things I learned and will always recommend is coconut oil, is that it has about 1 million different uses besides just eating it. The second thing that's super essential is protein, and this is actually dried venison that was a gift that I thought I would save for a rainy day. I pulled it out to show you, and this is what I found. Can you see that? That is something growing on the jerky. So clearly I will not be eating this. In an emergency situation, cans are heavy, so if you're stationary, canned meat, I actually never eat this. I just bought a couple cans in what I call my go bag. I have a small container of food that's my in an emergency grab and go. So we have canned meat, but better for you is canned fish. I have quite a lot of tuna that I have acquired. Salmon is really the best because of the omega-3s. It's the highest density food that you're going to get. You're going to get the fat and the protein. The other thing I would recommend, and that I use a lot, is bouillon. Now I know this has all kinds of bad stuff in you, but the bottom line is boiled water just doesn't taste very good. Bouillon is very lightweight and easy to carry, and you can make a soup out of almost anything. It has become an art form at our house here, how to make soup. This is one of my secret foods that I have. It's actually a Spanish infant food milk formula. It's probably not good for me, but because, you know, I lived for so long without a refrigerator, I ended up getting dried milk, and, you know, that non-fat dried milk is horrible. This is whole milk, so there's a lot more calories, but it does taste good. Whoops. And the reason I love this is it doesn't go bad, and you can use it for everything. I use it for my coffee. I use it, you can constitute it for any recipe. It's perfect for filler, thickening in soups. I use it in my potato soup recipe, which is what I'm going to show you one of these days. It's my 3-ingredient, super fabulous, go-to, I'm starving and I need to be filled up for not very much money recipe. All right, so that would be, those are my general recommendations. Now, if you are, one of the things that I also created, which isn't rocket science, is in my go bag, is you want nuts, dried fruit, and also, I'm going to tell you, if I could only pick one thing, this would be it. I was not paid to do this. Can you see that? That is an M&M. If there is one food that I had to pick on the run, it would be a peanut or an almond M&M. And the reason is it's protein, fat, and sugar. And it won't melt. There's no melt factor in terms of making a mess. So if I only could pick one tiny emergency food, it would be the M&M. And I'm going to tell you something else. In a crisis, in a high stress situation, this is actually factual and not my personal opinion, is that fat and sugar actually calm down the stress response, which is why when you're stressed, chocolate cake and vanilla ice cream or some variation of fat and sugar just tastes so good. It actually does make you feel better. Now, it's not a good long-term strategy, obviously, but in an emergency, there is some comfort factor. And you know what? If I'm on the run because something bad is happening, I'm going to need some comfort. So we're going to do one more thing before we go. We're going to take one more deep breath for the road as we hope to rise with the sun in our eyes, love in our heart, feet firmly on the ground as together we walk on survival road, one day at a time. Live free, die wild, my friends, and we'll see you next time.
And you can see for 1,000 miles or more. You could hate